Hi there. I think we're live now. Oh, gosh. I got to tell you, I've been sitting here basically talking to myself, I guess, for the last few minutes. I have this new software, and Oliver, if you were here watching yesterday, Oliver was kind enough to give me a copy of Mimo Live, which is absolutely fantastic. It's just amazing software. And I'm fumbling around here because I practiced with it yesterday, and I did just a little thing, and it went live on Facebook, and it went live on everything else, and it didn't for some reason, everything was the same, and for some reason it just didn't connect today. So now I'm looking to see if I'm connected now, and I don't see where I am connected now live. I am live on, I'm live on, what are we doing here? What is the software? Hey, Ken, I'm not using it right now. You're watching on Periscope, so we're obviously live on Periscope, but I don't see where it's connected with Facebook. But the new, so the new software is it's called Mimo Live, and my gosh, it was just fantastic. I did a little practice thing with it yesterday. Dwayne, are we coming through on Facebook? I don't see where. Oh, we're on. Okay, good. I was fumbling around there because I did a little. There we go. I did a little practice thing yesterday with it, and it was just absolutely over the moon great. It has different things that you can use to make it look like a TV broadcast, but somehow I've messed up. It's not the software; it's me. I messed up the relay. Because what you use is then it relays it to Facebook, and I did a little test yesterday, and it went right on Facebook, so I erased it because it was just me going, testing 1, 2, 3 kind of thing. So, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Talene. Ted, good to see you. So anyway, somehow between what I was doing with it, practicing with it, and now I messed up the relay to Facebook and others, but I will have it hopefully ready to go tomorrow because, Oliver, if you're watching, holy cow, it's just fantastic software because it can have a little thing going across the bottom like on CNN, and it can do all kinds of amazing things, and I can't thank you enough for it. It's called Mimo, M-I-M-O Live, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it to anybody that's that's watching because it is absolutely great. I'm also moving the camera and moving the phone here around a little bit because we're live on Instagram as well with Instagram Live. So we're doing that. Yesterday was the first day that we've done that. So good to know that we're on. And as I said yesterday, if you missed it, one of the things that folks were saying is I need to make certain that I that I don't mix up my stories and my shout outs. I love saying hi to everybody, but I need to make certain that I don't mix up. Start a story and then stop it and say hi to everybody. And so I'll work on that and get that right today as well. Rita, it's called Mimo, M-I-M-O Live. You can just do a Google search for it. And I'm telling you, for a church or for what I'm doing here, I can't imagine better software. You would absolutely love it. So I highly, highly recommend it. It's my fault that I'm not using it right now. I'll hope to have an example of it tomorrow. The cool thing is that Oliver, the owner of the company that makes the software, was watching yesterday, and so he sent me a copy so that I could use it and show. So, and hey to everybody. Hi, I want to say hi to Trish. Hi to everybody watching on Instagram as well. Really pleased that you're doing that. Kathy, great to see you. Sam Simmermaker. Sam is a legend in Indiana radio, and yes, you just heard a holy cow. He is the best. Oh, Shelly, thanks for putting the link in there. There is the link with Boinks if you'd like to see more about that. And I will be using that software tomorrow because that was so kind of Oliver to pass that along. So, Linda, great seeing you. Scott, always great to see you. Hey, Vicky, how's that? So, let's talk a little bit about, got a couple things planned to talk about today. during this challenging time. And here's one of the things that some of you may have heard me mention before, but I think it's a great time to review the story. When Christopher Columbus set sail, he had maps, of course, right? In those days, the cartographers, that's the technical term for map makers, would prepare maps of the world as it had been discovered to that time. And on Columbus's map, as they sailed out on their voyage in 1492, in the area of the world that had been discovered at that particular time, it's really remarkable that the maps are amazing in their accuracy, given the lack of sophistication with which they had to work at that particular time. The maps were absolutely amazing. But in the uncharted water, in the area in which they thought no person had ever sailed before, there the map makers drew pictures of dragons, large, enormous dragons. And under the dragons, they wrote these words. They wrote, "Beyond this, there be dragons." For you see, even back in 1492, when Columbus sailed the ocean blue, the thing that scared people and concerned people was not necessarily what was out there. What concerned them was the unknown. And it seems to me that similar challenge is exactly what we are going through now. It is not so much what we fear that we know, it's the unknown. How long will we be in this situation? And what are the challenges in this situation? And, this unseen enemy that is out there. And so one of the problems that we have is that we have to understand that what we are facing is not just the challenge of coronavirus. It is the challenge that human beings have faced from the very beginning, and that is fear of the unknown. And so therefore, how do you fight that? Well, part of what we have to do is to communicate with each other. It's doing exactly what we're doing right here and right now. It is finding ways to connect and to reassure each other, and not in the sense of giving false hope. I don't mean that in the least, but it's finding ways that those of us can be dragon slayers, that we can overcome these challenges of the fear of the unknown and these challenges of change to do the best we can given the situation that we're in. Look, if you're in a business like mine, this is not going to be a time that you are going to be knocking it out of the park and making $1 gazillion. If you're a server at a restaurant, if you are a blackjack dealer here in Las Vegas, this is a difficult time. This is a challenging time. This is in many ways, an awful time. I would suggest part of your stress and part of your challenge comes out of the unknown. We don't know when this is going to be over. We don't know what the conclusion is going to be. We don't know when we're going to be back to work. And it's that unknown that creates the challenge and the change and the worry as much as the situation. So, yeah, a real estate agent. Kathy, you are exactly right. That is another great example. So what can we do? It seems to me that what we can do is to isolate those things that we do know and focus on that. For example, one of the things that I'm doing that I'd suggest for you as well is, what courses can you take online? What is something that you can do to learn something so that whenever this is done, whenever that might be, you can say, I learned this through this process. It's not, look, there's no magic wand we can wave. Goodness only knows we wish we could. But what we can do is something that helps us conquer the fear of the unknown. And so find one thing that you can do. That's my suggestion today. What's one online course that you could take? What's something that you could learn? What is something? Look, Tammy and I have been we've been binging The West Wing. Remember that TV show? We were going through all 7 seasons and binging The West Wing, and we absolutely love it. That's great, but there ought to be something specific that we can do, something that we can find out, something we can learn, something we can grow. And I'm doing something on Masterclass. I'm finding other online programs, and I'd suggest for you to do the same. Learn something. Take advantage of this time to sharpen your skills. Very, very important. Let me say, first of all, hello to Richard Mellencamp. Richard is somebody I just absolutely adore, but I haven't seen him in person for so long. And my friend, it is great to see you here. Hello to everybody back home, and you're just one of the greats. I really appreciate you jumping in here. Dwayne, isn't there a quote that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself? That was Franklin D. Roosevelt in his first inaugural address when he took over during the time of the Great Depression. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And yeah, Tammy, my wife just popped in here and said, yes, we are binging on the West Wing while we're playing Rummy. And night before last, she kicked my tail and won our big Rummy game, and last night was my night. So there you go. Hey, Joshua, thanks. I appreciate that you like the glasses. That's very cool. Casey, always good to see you. And Bill, how you doing? I know it's only MIT, but yeah, good to be with you. Renita, great to see you. Remain on the front line in East Tennessee. I tell you what, everybody that is on the front line is doing such incredible work, just such incredible work. We are so blessed in this world, particularly here in the United States, but I know these folks watching internationally. We are so blessed to have such incredible first responders and such incredible people who are serving us in such an incredible time. Hey, Mark, former radio colleague of mine. Mark, it's always great to see you. Michael Hunt. Oh, yeah, I love the West Wing. It's great to see you, Michael. Tom, talk a little more about Masterclass. I'm curious as your thoughts and opinions. Masterclass, for those that don't know, is you can just go to masterclass.com and study it. But part of what they've done is to get well-regarded, respected leaders in particular fields to do a course where they teach what they know. Now, here's the downside to Masterclass, is that a lot of this tends to be these folks just speaking from experience. It's not as structured as, for example, Harvard is doing things online now. They'd be very structured like a course, and there's work you have to do along the way. It's not structured as much in that sense, but just to hear Steve Martin go in depth about how you create comedy, or everyone from Neil Gaiman to Malcolm Gladwell and others to talk about what they do to write a book. James Patterson has one that I found particularly good. So it just exposes you to the thinking of the greats in that particular subject. So, if you want to learn how to cook, you're learning from like Wolfgang Puck. If you want to learn how to make a movie, you can learn from the director that I work for, Werner Herzog. You can. There are just so many amazing things that you can learn and grow from that. So for some folks, that's it, because it's kind of a cool stream of consciousness, thinking way of approaching it. Bob Woodward on how do you do investigative journalism. Those are fantastic. So would I say if I wanted to learn how to be a better sales professional, Masterclass might not be the first place that I would think of to go. But if I wanted to be entertained as I learn from somebody, excuse me, Bob Iger with Disney talks about decision making. Man, where else are you going to get to spend 3 hours listening to Bob Iger up close and personal? So that's the advantage of Masterclass. It's not as structured, it's not as specific in its outcomes, but it's really good. Charles, hey, man, good to see you over in California. We were talking earlier, I don't know if you're here yet or not, but real estate is a challenging field, and I know that's you. So anyway, good to see you. Pam, yes, thank you very much. Jerry, we need it. When is the time that we don't need great leadership, right? So, hey, Alex just joined us on Instagram. Great to see you, my friend. Glad you're here. Here's the other thing I wanted to talk about today. I mentioned Columbus and the dragons on the map and the fear of the unknown. And so how do we handle that? And I want to tell a quick story that some of you I know have heard me tell on my podcast or online, but for those of you that haven't, and it's something I keep reminding myself of every day as we're going through this. Many years ago, and many of you know that Yeah, Richard, you got that right. Us Jackson County boys are going to hang in there, man. Right? I love it. Many years ago, and many of you know that when I was a kid, I got my start in speaking through the FFA. Back then it was known as Future Farmers of America. Now, because the largest chapters are in New York City and Chicago and in the Watts section of Los Angeles, and as it has moved into all of agribusiness and small animal care and turf management and so forth, it just goes by FFA. Doesn't really stand for anything anymore. It's just FFA, but it's such a phenomenal student organization, and it's how I got my start. And I was a national officer of that organization many years ago. Well, then not long after I got out of office, they asked me to come back and be one of the outside keynote speakers for the National FFA Convention. Now, if you don't know much about FFA, it's probably hard to understand what an incredible honor that is. There are over 20,000 people in the audience. There are so many dignitaries in the audience that it's really incredible and really amazing. It was such a thrill to be there. But another thrill for me was that the other keynote speaker was Zig Ziglar. And I had met Zig just briefly at a National Speakers Association event, but I had not really had the chance to really hear him speak in a setting at a big convention. I had not had the opportunity to really get a chance to share time with him other than just shake his hand, introduce myself a couple of times, say hello. So my wife and I get to the hotel and we check in, and there's a message at the front desk, and it said, "Scott, Mr. Ziglar wants to know if you're free for dinner tonight." And the best way that I can describe that is I felt like a Little League shortstop that Derek Jeter says, "Hey, want to go get a Coke?" You know, I just can't believe it. I'm just blown away. So that night, my wife and I went to dinner with Zig Ziglar, and it's just the three of us at the table. And I will admit, I was intimidated and a bit overwhelmed. And he could not have been nicer. And during the conversation, he said, "Scott, I was just checking before I came here, and I was looking to see if I could get one of your books." And I said, "Well, Zig, I don't have a book." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I noticed that you don't have a book." He said, "So you haven't written a book?" I said, "No, Zig, I've never written a book." And Zig Ziglar said, "Well, I haven't either." Now, my wife and I start looking at each other like, we've got 8 of them on the shelf at home. We've tried to read everything that he's written. But then he said, "But I get up every morning and I write 3 pages a day. And about 6 months later, they tell me I've got a book." And it was like the light bulb went on over my head. I realized that the reason I didn't have a book was because writing a book, the enormity of that, seemed so incredible that I just never started. It seemed so overwhelming, it was tough to put pen to paper or put my fingers on the keyboard and just start. But Zig helped me realize that it wasn't writing a book, it was writing 3 pages a day, every day, until the task was completed. And so that's what I want to suggest with you and to you, is that during this time, it's easy to get, because of what we talked about earlier about the dragons, because of that, it's so easy to get overwhelmed. It's so easy to think this tidal wave is happening to us, and we're not getting paid, and we're not, what's going to happen next, and what's our health going to be, and what's our parents' health going to be, what's our grandparents' health going to be. All of those things are on our plate. And it's so easy to get overwhelmed. But I would suggest to you, just as Zig Ziglar hit me between the eyes with this insight and wisdom, is that the best thing that we can do is just get up in the morning and write our 3 pages. Now, for you, writing those 3 pages might be that you start on some outside course. It might be that you plant a garden. It might be that you start thinking about how you can get additional income streams in your business, whatever that business might be. I don't know what it is for you, but I do know that one of the things that you can do to make a significant difference during this time of challenge and change is to think about where those 3 pages a day are for you and just get started. What will your 3 pages be? So I think that's going to be a recurring theme as we continue to talk here, is, what have you done today? What have your 3 pages been today that will make a difference for you and help you handle this time of challenge and change better than you might have imagined? Because I do believe, and I don't mean to be like, a Pollyanna, but I do believe that we are going to come out of this stronger if we're willing to do the work now. My wife is so great at exercising. I mean, she has been so disciplined about that. And she is stronger now than she was when she started her current program. We could start a program now, whatever that might be, in learning and growth, so that when we come out of this, we'll be stronger. But we got to do the work now to enjoy the benefits of being stronger later. That's what we need to do. Oh, I appreciate that you like that. Thank you. That's awesome. Hey, let's catch up here on some of the comments. And Rita, you were listening to Zig this morning. That is so cool. I listened to Zig or Jim Rohn. I try to do a little bit of that almost every day. That's one of my daily routines that I try to do, because our attitude is something we have 100% control over. I don't have any control over how the virus is going to spread or not, but I do have control over my attitude during this challenging and changing time. It's part of why I'm doing this, right? Is that I'm keeping my attitude up, and I want to share that with others. But the feedback that I'm getting from you keeps my attitude up as well. We're in this together, so that's part of what we're sharing with each other. Is how we do that. So I appreciate that greatly. Charles, life's a farmer's. There you go. Talk about FFA. Bill, absolutely. Charles, I agree. Nobody better than Zig. Pam, you've had experience with the FFA as well. Glad to know that. Mark, oh man, absolutely. We talked about that when you first moved to Indiana. That is great. Well, you're famous in your own way, man. That is so cool. Kevin, accountability statement, 20,000 words in, but not on. Oh, Kevin, I look forward to reading that. That's going to be great. Ted, thank you. Deborah, yeah, Zig was the best. That is so cool. Well, that covered the 2 things I wanted to talk about today in terms of how can we slay the dragons of the unknown, and it's by taking action. But then that's where that second story is about Zig Ziglar. It's taking those action steps every single day, step by step by step. And we will end up stronger at the end of the process. You'll end up with a book, or you end up with new information, or you end up with a new skill, or you end up with another income stream, or something will happen because of doing the work now. That's what we need to be all about. So, Lee, thank you. Yeah, I think part of the reason, and we'll talk more about this at a future one, we've heard that phrase so much about thinking outside the box. And I think part of the reason we have challenge with it is because we haven't defined what the box is to begin with. We're not clear enough with where we are and where we want to go and what we want to accomplish. Therefore, because we haven't defined the box, thinking outside it becomes an additional challenge. So we'll talk more about clarity and approaching and all that. Hey, Deb, my buddy from Franklin College, how many nights did we spend at the Key drinking coffee and working on our assignments and everything else? It's always so good to hear from you. Trying to make sure our neighbors are doing well and posting local updates or donations. Yeah, there you go. That's what you can do today to make something happen. And that is critical work that you're doing. Well, hey, everybody, thank you again for your time. It's always great to connect. We'll be back here at 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific tomorrow, as we'll be every day right here talking about what's going on and staying connected. I appreciate it so much, and I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. Alex, thank you so much. Man, you're one of my favorites. I really appreciate that. And great. Thank you for taking time to watch, and I look forward to crossing paths again in the future at an LPL event or something else coming up before too long. So thanks, everybody, for sharing. By the way, before I forget, I mentioned that we're now doing the online radio station. It's on 24/7, and all you need to do, it just got approved, so all you need to do if you have an Amazon device is to say, I'm going to be real careful because when I say this, it's probably going to respond. All you need to do is say, Alexa, open Distinction Radio. So Alexa opened it, and she was trying to. Yeah. because I said something else. Alexa, off. But just say that, Alexa, open Distinction Radio, and it'll immediately start streaming some ideas for you. This is being broadcast live on Distinction Radio in case people just want to listen to it. But that's there for you 24/7. So just ideas and uplifting content and comment. Hey, Betsy. And so that's all there for you. Just Alexa, open Distinction Radio. We'll have more on that for you soon. So, hey, Tom, thank you very much. It's my privilege. I'm honored you take time to watch this. And Michael, appreciate that. June, always great seeing you. Kevin, thank you. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you again tomorrow right here again. Look forward to seeing you. Have a great rest of your day.